Not all stories are about glory. Some are just about the fight to survive. It's a story that shows us how, even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can find a way to shine. Before Anne Frank became a symbol of hope, and she was just a young girl learning to be afraid. In Germany in the 1930s, soldiers are marching through your streets, their boots echoing on the pavement. The shops your family used to visit, owned by people you know, are being smashed and destroyed, simply because they were Jewish. And she lived through it all. She vividly remembers the day she saw him, Hitler, on a balcony, his voice booming over the crowd. She described his gaze as chilling her to the bone. Everyone around her froze, fear washing over them. This fear wasn't a fleeting emotion. It became a constant companion, a shadow that followed them everywhere. It seeped into daily life, changing the way people acted, the way they spoke, the way they looked at each other. And with the keen eyes of a child, she watched the adults around her change. The laughter became quieter, the smiles more strained. She understood with a clarity that no child should have to possess, that the world was no longer a safe place. In search of safety, her family made a courageous decision. They packed up their lives and moved to Amsterdam in the Netherlands, hoping to outrun the storm that was gathering over Europe. And for a little while, it worked. Life started to feel normal again. Anne went to a new school, made new friends. She laughed, she played, she felt the simple joys of being a young girl. Most importantly, she nurtured her greatest passion, writing. She filled notebooks with stories and observations, dreaming of one day becoming a famous writer, her words read and loved by many. But the war, like a relentless hunter, was right on their heels. The peaceful life Anne's family had just begun to build was starting to crumble before their eyes. One by one, new rules were imposed, each one taking a little more of their freedom. Jews were banned from public parks, cinemas, and even public transport. Their world was shrinking, closing in on them like a vice. The time for hope and normal life was fading away. Now it was all about survival. To save themselves, Anne's family made the hardest decision of all. They would go into hiding. Their sanctuary was a secret space tucked away behind a movable bookcase in the office building where Anne's father, Otto, had worked. This little hidden set of rooms, which they called the secret annex, would become Anne's entire world. And so began her new, silent life. For 2 long, grueling years, this was their reality. The annex was cramped and dark, with windows blacked out to cut off any connection to the outside world. During the day, when workers were in the building below, they had to live in absolute silence. Just think about that. No running, no laughing, no loud talking. Even a cough, a sneeze, or a dropped object could be a death sentence, a sound that might lead soldiers right to their door. Anne, a lively and spirited young girl, had to learn to live like a ghost, tiptoeing through her days, suppressing every instinct to be free. But at night, when the building was empty and a fragile sense of privacy returned, Anne would open her most cherished possession, her diary. It was a small red and white checkered notebook she received for her 13th birthday. She named it Kitty, turning it from just a book into a dear and trusted friend. Into Kitty's pages, she poured everything she couldn't say out loud. She wrote about the suffocating fear and the crushing loneliness of their confinement. She described the constant tension of living in such close quarters, the inevitable arguments and frustrations that arose between the two families sharing the small space. With deep affection, she wrote about her father, her pillar of strength in a world gone mad. And she shared her dreams. Her dreams of feeling the rain on her face and the wind in her hair again, her dreams of going back to school. Most powerfully, her unwavering dream of becoming a writer. Even amid unimaginable hardship, in the heart of darkness, Anne's diary became a shining testament to hope. Even while hidden away, convinced the world had forgotten her, she wrote with such optimism. In one of her most famous entries, she said, "In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart." She clung to this belief, this tiny flame of hope, even as the monstrous shadow of Hitler loomed over all of Europe. His presence was a constant, terrifying reminder that danger was real, that evil existed, and that their survival depended on silence. Then, one morning on August 4, 1944, the silence was shattered. T-E-She, sound they had dreaded for 761 days finally echoed through the air. The heavy thud of boots on the stairs and the harsh shouts of men. The hiding was over. The secret was out. The bookcase was torn away, and their world came crashing down. Anne and her family were arrested and taken away. They were transported to concentration camps. Her body grew weaker and weaker. Anne Frank died in the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, just a few weeks before it was liberated. She was only 15 years old, her dreams of becoming a writer seemingly lost forever. After the war, a miracle happened. Of the 8 people who hid in the secret annex, only one survived: Anne's father, Otto Frank. He returned to Amsterdam, a shattered man, only to find that his entire family was gone. Back in the empty, silent annex, he was surrounded by painful memories, and that's when he found it. Miep Gies, one of the brave souls who risked her life for them, had saved Anne's diary. With a heavy heart, Otto started to read his daughter's words. He dove into her private thoughts, her fears, her frustrations, her secret crushes, her profound insights, and her incredible, unshakable hope. Through those pages, he discovered a daughter he never fully knew, a gifted writer with wisdom that far exceeded her years. Determined that her voice wouldn't be lost, he made it his mission to fulfill her greatest wish. Today, Anne Frank's diary, the diary of a young girl, has been translated into over 70 languages and is read by millions around the globe. The young girl who had to hide in silence now speaks to the entire world. Her voice, once just a whisper in a dark room, has transformed into a powerful roar that echoes across generations. So, what does this heartbreaking yet incredibly powerful story teach us? It shows us that even when the world sinks into unimaginable cruelty and hatred, hope can still survive. It reminds us that a single candle can push back the darkness. Anne's story is a profound lesson in the resilience of the human spirit. It teaches us that words have a power that transcends time and circumstance. Words can heal, preserve memory, and bear witness. Anne used her words to create a world for herself when her real one was taken away, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire and educate us all. It also teaches us that kindness and courage can exist even in the most terrifying times. The people who helped the Frank family hide were just ordinary folks who made an extraordinary choice to do what was right, despite the risks. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us that even a quiet voice, one that was silenced far too soon, can leave one of the most powerful and enduring lessons in human history. Never stop hoping. Never stop believing in the good in people, even when it's hard to see. And never, ever underestimate the power of your own voice. Find your kitty, whether it's a journal, a friend, or a creative outlet, and let yourself be heard. Because hope, once it's written down and shared, can never truly disappear. It lives on, waiting to light the way for others. Thanks so much for watching and subscribe to A K-Story Tales. If it moved you, please consider liking this video and sharing for more motivational stories that matter.